Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a post-match pint in association with Purity. If you use the code #VillaView, you will get 10% off all Purity's various beer and ale offerings. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, joined tonight by Ty Bracey with ridiculous sunglasses on that I didn't actually think he would leave on at the start of the show, but he has. There he is. He's got his sunglasses on, looking a little bit like Noel Gallagher or Liam Gallagher after just watching the Manchester City game. Man, you were, honestly, Jesus, they're so bad. Harry Maguire, get in the bin, honestly. There is before we get the show started, there is actually some Purity deals going on at the moment, which I'm hoping are going to flash up on the screen because I don't know what they are. There we go. Win a chance to meet a Villa legend. I'm just going to read it to you. I'm sure you can all read. But
they get to meet you?
I mean, I would not be classed as a Villa legend, Ty.
I know, I just like winding you up, mate, that's all.
So all you got to do is simply purchase a Purity Pale mini cake for £23 or two for £40, which I'd say is actually a really good deal anyway. And then if you do that, you'll have the chance to win a match day experience with a Villa legend. Could be anyone. Not really sure what Villa legend it could be. It could literally be anyone. But yeah, I met Mark Draper yesterday, incidentally, in Nathan Dawes' hospitality box. Nice to see Mark Draper, one of the first people I had on the back of that shirt that Ty's got on there. Although it does look like the Reeboks fell off, Ty. We won't talk about that there.
It's a replica. I won't say what company it's from because it's a rep.
You can get that fixed.
Now, I can get it fixed, but
I know
it's cheating in it. And then so do I, but I'd have to cut the collar out. I must apologise for the sunglasses. Dan joined the call dressed as a 15-year-old, like he's been doing some kick flips. So I thought I needed to make myself look a little bit snazzy as well. So
I might download Tony Hawk's skateboarding after this. It's come back out, hasn't it?
Class game.
Might have a little go on it. It used to be.
I'll beat you on that as well.
I was terrible. Absolutely terrible as a kid at that game. Can't imagine I'd be much better now. But Ty, you've not been on for a while. We've been waiting for a good one to get you on. There's not been many good ones in the time since you were last on. You were probably on for a bad one, I'm going to guess. But it was Aston Villa 4, Southampton 0. Could have been more. It was a lovely, lovely day at Villa Park, Tom.
Great success. I mean, really I was sat with all the normal fans and you was eating prawn sandwiches with Nathan Dorr. So you probably had to have binoculars to see from your seat stand. But
I mean, Nathan Dorr was sat in front of me. So there was times where I couldn't see because he's so tall.
It was just a nice feeling all around, after Brighton, and we looked so good after we had gone 1-0 up, and it's nice that the players have instilled that confidence throughout their week in training, and then total domination against Southampton, mate. I thought it could have easily been, excuse the pun, 9-0.
I mean, it should have been at least 4 at half time.
Yeah, 100%. It was unreal, mate. It was nice to get that feel-good factor around Villa Park, and everyone was loud and proud and enjoying themselves. So it's nice to enjoy a weekend again, mate, I'll be honest.
Yeah, 2 weekends in a row, 2 clean sheets in a row, 6 goals across 2 games. A few weeks ago, we were coming on and talking about us losing to Watford and everything felt grim. Then a couple of wins later and you feel on top of the world. I guess that is just the nature of football, but it does feel now like we've changed the system slightly, haven't we? Gerrard's tweaked the system. We've got 2 up front, Coutinho floating around as a number 10 behind Danny Ings and Watkins. And the last 2 weeks, it's worked really well. I mean, Coutinho, we used to say Grealish was on a different planet, and I think he was. I think Coutinho's on a different stratosphere. He is unbelievable. And already you're kind of thinking, is this guy going to be the best player we've ever seen play for Aston Villa Football Club? People of our generation, I mean, the players in the older days might have been better. I don't know, because obviously we weren't there. We're not that old, although we are in some ways. Well, I am anyway. But you know what I'm saying? He is a special, special talent.
I mean, I had put a tweet earlier saying I think that was the best individual performance I've ever seen from a player in a Villa shirt.
I don't think it's a bad shout.
It's not, and he's really showing what he's capable of, and he shows why he had that £140 million move. He's showing his class, and he's playing some really good ball under Steven Gerrard, and I'm just really happy that he's found his feet. I really hope it just continues, and we get the sailing in the summer. But rule number 1 of being a Villa fan, don't fall in love with a lone player, right?
Nah, this is different. I'm going to say I'm 80% he'll be here next season.
You think so?
Why wouldn't he be? I mean, he's got a great relationship with the manager. Would one of the Champions League teams come in for him? I'm not sure they would, even on a showing like that. I'm not sure, that he's not going to go to Manchester City. Liverpool probably aren't going to have him back. Chelsea, Arsenal might not mind him, but they've got Erdegaard, who's had quite a good game today. Watching him earlier, so he isn't going to go there. He's done Spain, so there's nowhere for him to go in there. He's done Germany with Bayern Munich. If Villa offer 33 million, the offer's getting accepted. He's playing, which is what he hasn't had the last few years. He's enjoying his football. He knows the manager. There's absolutely no reason why Philippe Coutinho shouldn't be here next season. And I'm pretty sure Villa will already now be thinking, we need to get this sorted sooner rather than later. He'll be on extortionate wages. But Villa, I'm not being funny. I think we're a massive club, but Philippe Coutinho is above us.
I think he's definitely that piece in the puzzle of the push for European football next season. If we can keep the run of form up, I think we'll at top half of the table. It's looking quite good at the minute, isn't it, mate? So
it's there to be had.
Absolutely. So as long as we do the right business in the summer, we're not flashing the cash like we have to in the last few seasons. I think there's only tweaks that need to be made, Dan. I don't think it's something where we need absolute crazy cash to be spent. I think, maybe 2 or 3 at an absolute most.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe you don't know what's going to happen with the strikers. It wouldn't surprise me if a club come for Watkins. Wouldn't surprise me if that happens. But they'd have to pay an extortionate amount of money.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
we're definitely going to get a CDM. There's still Rumourville floating around, even though the window's closed.
We'll 100% get a midfielder, 100%.
Yeah, and I think we may get one more in backup as well. I think that'll happen. I think we're going to sign Olsen on a permanent. I reckon that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, he's got the relationship with Langer, hasn't he? So it probably makes sense. But I get what you're saying. I think a few weeks ago, we were all saying it's going to be full-on refresh in the summer under Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard allowed to get his own type of player in. But you saw yesterday, he said that's the kind of football he wants to play. And Southampton are no mugs. I think they'd lost 1 in 10. So they were absolutely flying before they got to Villa Park yesterday. I mean, they said on Match of the Day that, they were probably due an off day. But I don't think it came down to that. I think we were actually just too good for them. That Southampton actually did have a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
The chances that we created, like we said at the top end of the show, we made so many chances, and not just chances, really good chances. It could have realistically, like you say, been 7, 8, 9. There was that many chances in the game, and they've been really, really good recently. So Gerrard's shown there, he's kind of set the bar now for this is what he wants. And the players have shown that they are capable now of implementing what he wants. They've done it in a spell in the first little half of Gerrard's reign. We lost some games there, but we were playing some really nice stuff, and I think everyone could see what Gerrard wanted. He's tweaked it the last couple of games, and we've been waiting to get Watkins and Ings to score in the same game. It's taken us till March for that to happen, which I would never have said would have happened at the start of the season. But they're linking up now with Coutinho behind them. He's tweaked it, and we're looking good again. And you kind of see what Gerrard wants, and I think he deserves credit for changing the formation actually, because I didn't think he would. I thought he might stick to his principles, but he's tweaked it, changed that formation. We've gone 2 up front. Perhaps it took Brighton by surprise last week, but I think Southampton would have known that this was coming in. It was going to be a similar team, but they just haven't been able to deal with us. And like you say, the week in training must have been so good, a weight lifted off the shoulders a little bit to sound like Jolly and Lescott, because they've got that win after a few games without a win. And everyone's had a good time yesterday. The players, Steven Gerrard, us as fans. We've all just had a great time watching us play football. And that you could see from where I was sitting there, obviously a different vantage point. You see the players, they were definitely playing with a smile on their face. They were all loving what they were doing out there. And I think they were all behind what the manager wanted. And you could see that by the way they played.
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough because at the start of the season when we thought, Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings, that's going to be absolutely chaos. It's going to be savage. And then it just wasn't doing what we expected, was it? When it all started, and we wasn't seeing the results, but it was really refreshing to see them both play well alongside each other, and Coutinho behind them was just the piece in that triangle that I think that we needed. The confidence was definitely there from everyone. I mean, Douglas Luiz, that was probably the best performance. He had a very good
first half.
First goal in 2 years, just over 2 years, which is in the Premier League, which is it's crazy when you think about it. I know he's not a striker, but it's one of those things where it's nice to see him get confidence because he's took a lot of flack. So it's nice to see that flack pushed to one side and everybody getting the plaudits that they deserve. I mean, let's talk about Callum Chambers and that ping. Like,
oh
that,
my God,
for me,
Paul Merson
is one of even the touch from Coutinho just shows his level of class, because to touch it across the box like that while it's in the air isn't something that any Tom, Dick, or Harry could do. So, just the entire day, we could literally wax lyrical about it for this. We could probably make this 2 hours long.
Yeah, I was impressed with Chambers yesterday. I hadn't been, it's early days, so it's a bit harsh to criticise him. But the first few games, I thought he looked a little bit nervy. Yesterday, I quite liked what I saw from him, and even without taking into account that Paul Merson pass that he did with the outside of his boot, I thought he had a solid game, and actually realised, he's quite a big talker actually, more of a talker than I thought he would. It's going to be interesting on Thursday, because what does he do? We've won 4-0. Does he bring Konsa and Dean back in? I kind of feel like you shouldn't, because I think it sends the wrong message. I think Konsa will.
What a great problem to have, right?
Yeah. I think probably Dean's actually more likely to come back in than Konsa now. It'll be interesting to see what he does, because I know they can't do anything about getting COVID. There's absolutely nothing either player can do about that.
But who do you drop after that game?
It'd be harsh to take Young. I mean, with Young, you can probably say he's 36 or 37, however old he is. 2 games, will be 3 games in a week, so you can probably get away with taking him out, I would say. But be interesting if Ezri Konsa lines up on the bench. It happened last season under Dean Smith, didn't it? Horsfield in for a game, and then he didn't get back in, and then Mings got sent off, and Konsa got back in and came on. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like you say, it's a lovely problem to have.
I think even when Sanson came on, you like the pronunciation, of course. That.
Voice of the villain says defo bring them back in. I think that would be incredibly harsh.
It's a really good problem to have. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I agree with both sides. I agree they're 2 players that
get off the fence, players. Get off the fence.
I'm not on the fence. I just don't think there's a wrong answer.
True.
I really don't think there's a wrong answer. So I don't think anyone's opinion of whether they say should come back in or they shouldn't come back in is the right or wrong answer. I think you're right in terms of Luca Dean is the only one who's going to come back in. I don't know if Konsa comes back in, because Chambers had, it's probably the best game of football he's had in years.
But then Konsa was really good against Brighton, and Steven Gerrard actually singled Konsa out, didn't he, after the Brighton game?
Yeah.
And Mings isn't going anywhere.
No way. So, I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, so like you say.
I assume it all comes down to training this week, maybe.
That's how it should be. That is how it should be. You want players training at the top of the game, and I know that is what Steven Gerrard wants, and he's very big on that. And if you're not doing it in training, you won't be in the team. So you have to train well under Steven Gerrard. So you're right, actually. That may be what it comes down to this week. But yeah, excellent times, because it did feel like the team was kind of picking itself. But now, even with players out yesterday, the bench was relatively strong, and it was nice to see some kids on there as well. I did think at 4-0 we might see one of them. That was my only disappointment from the day. I thought he might bring on Tommy O'Reilly or Iroquois, and we got to see a little bit more of them, but it didn't happen. That was probably my only downside. And if that's your only downside coming out of a game, then like we say, we've had a good day, haven't we?
I think it might come down to tactics as opposed to, personal preference of who's going to start. Leeds have got a lot of pace, and they've got the new manager bounce. Manager bounces always seem to come up against us. I don't know.
We love it. We love it. Leeds have been pants for weeks, but a big manager's first game at Ellen Road, the crowd will be up. It's not a great time to play them, and they're in serious trouble at the moment. Serious trouble, especially with Brentford winning at the weekend.
Yeah, they've got some talent up top, mate. So I don't know. I really don't know. But again, as I said, Dan, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there.
Let's go back to the game then. What I've liked about the last 2 games is scoring goals at good times. We seem to have found a little knack. We scored one relatively early yesterday, and then one right before half-time. Then it really should have been 3-0 at half-time, because Coutinho definitely should have scored that one-on-one. And then coming out the second half, it could be a completely different game if you concede, but we've just completely blitzed them in the first 10-15 minutes and finished them off, and it's an easy game to see out, which is something we don't really associate with Villa.
It was nice when they were in those dominant parts of possession in the first half for us to remain so composed. I think that was really important. What are you smiling at?
I was laughing at the stupid comment at the bottom that makes no sense.
I can't see it.
Unjustified Dolan saying Bardell out. It's completely unnecessary.
He's got a point.
No need. We've won 4-0, and he still has to come in with his negativity and some description, doesn't he?
I love you, Dolan. Don't worry about it.
No, you know what? I'm going to call him out a little bit here. When we lose, honestly, the guy never stops texting. Ever stops
I get it as well. He must have a list of people.
Honestly.
Here we go. Like his agony aunt group.
Yeah. We've won the last 2 weeks. Not had a peep from the guy. Absolutely nothing from him.
I wouldn't have it, Dolan, I wouldn't hand it from the kick flip bandit himself.
You've definitely wore a hat on these shows. I know you have. I'm going to go back and
Yeah, but Dan, it suits me. You look like a 15-year-old.
I mean, I wish I did look like a 15-year-old. I feel about 50 at the moment. But anyway, Dolan's making us get away from the show a little bit. Yeah, goals.
Can we talk about the Ollie Watkins goal first and foremost? And just
yes, let's go. Let's go through the goals. Let's go through the goals.
Ollie Watkins, it's so refreshing to see him back in a positive light amongst fans and just at Villa Park in general. He's had a bit of a dry spell and he's come under criticism. People saying his head's turned because he's been linked with clubs, which is obviously a load of codswallop.
I don't think it was that.
No, neither do I at all. But that turn, oof.
Clever. And he wouldn't have even tried it a few weeks ago. The goal last week's done him good, hasn't it? He wouldn't have even tried that a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I thought that would be the floodgates opening. I think we're going to see a few more from him in the next few games. And I'm not... People online are very easy to go, oh, don't jinx it. Like, I manifest it. So I don't believe in jinx. I believe in manifestation. Okay. So if I say, I'm manifesting. And nice. I'd love him to score a hat-trick at Ellen Road. Although I did say...
Are you trying to will it?
Before the Coutinho goal, I said to the lads who I sit with in Holt Lower, I said, Coutinho score next in front of the whole end. You had it here first. And it happened. And it really happened.
Manifested, didn't you?
Manifesting a Watkins hat-trick. But I just thought he was class as a whole. I really do.
Yeah, he's back to work. Not that he wasn't working hard. I think things just weren't coming off for him a little bit and his confidence was down. Behind the scenes, it sounds like that was simply the problem. I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't criticised him over the last month or so because I have. But, from the sounds of it behind the scenes, it just does sound like it was a confidence thing. I didn't think it was anything to do with head being turned. I think it's just frustration. I think he's frustrated. And when he's frustrated, I don't think he's the Ollie Watkins that we saw last season. He's got 7 Premier League goals now, I think. I think he got 13 or 14 last year. Be nice to see him end the season with a flourish and get somewhere near that, wouldn't it? I didn't like Jacob Ramsey being the top scorer on 5, to be honest. That didn't sit well with me.
No, I agree. It's you centre mid. Your youngest centre mid shouldn't be your top goal scorer. No,
especially when he'd scored quite a few this year.
Yeah, but I mean, when you've got two, on paper, 2 strikers who are goal scorers, it was something that did raise a few eyebrows for me as well. But I think he'll finish the season on top goal scorer, mate, Mr. Watkins.
Yeah, let's get to double figures and work from there. According to you, he's getting to double figures on Thursday, so that'll be absolutely nice. So I look forward to talking to you about that on Thursday night after the game.
I'll get Dolan to message you instead.
Yeah, he'll only message me if we lose. We've gone through the second goal, lovely goal, great work from Chambers, lovely run from Coutinho, nice layoff as well, and Dougie Luiz was there to tuck it away for his first goal since that famous goal against Watford. I think it was, as you said, I think that was actually the last time he scored, so great to see. And then Villa open up the second half, Coutinho's feet, absolute feet of bigs. Ridiculous, and I know he's took a
don't do that again, Dan.
Don't
do that again.
I love
you can't come out with puns like that because you can't say 15-year-old puns because you dressed like 15.
One of my favourites, Vita Bix.
You say that all the time.
I say it when it's necessary.
You need to stop doing all these corporate podcasts because the Bardell won't come out with stuff like that.
You can only say it if it's a goal like that, but it was. There were so many players around, and I know it took a nick. But to get it through and get it on target, it's a wonderful goal. He loves scoring as well. I like his celebrations. He looks like he's absolutely delighted to score goals for Aston Villa and long may it
I made it my header. It's my header on Twitter.
Is it?
That snap that Villa posted of the 4 or 5 players in front of him as he's about to shoot. It was just one of those moments where you're like, how on earth? Don't get me wrong, it's had a bobble or 2 on the way through and it's made the keeper. But just class. And there was I don't know if it was before or just after that, where Watkins had a shot. And Coutinho's put it out wide to him. He's gone in. He should have squared it across to Coutinho. The more time I watch it, he should have squared it. And if he'd squared it to Coutinho, it's definitely a goal. But I understand why he had a shot.
I mean, there could have been so many goals in that game. So many goals.
Take your pick.
I mean, we haven't even done that. I didn't realise until I watched Match of the Day back this morning how close the one that he arrowed Coutinho in the first half.
Oh, I know, because it looked like it looked like it flew. That was at the North Stand, wasn't it? It was miles out, but it was really close. A little bit down, a little bit more on the outside of the boot, mate, and that's literally the toppest of the toppest spins.
But even that, the technique was ridiculous for that strike. That's not an easy skill to pull off at all, and he makes everything look easy. Coutinho, I don't think he gave the ball away in the final third, and if you look at his stats, he tried an awful lot. It wasn't like he didn't try anything. He was making loads of through balls, loads of passes and clever little dinks and stuff all game. But I don't think he gave the ball away in the final third, which just shows you what a magician he is.
I think it's one of them games that we'll talk about for a long time to come, and that performance. I think it's something that you'll reference and talk about with your mates and your family and whatever as just one of it was just so effortless as well. Everything he does, it doesn't look like he's working hard. It's just
you
so
just hope that's the
natural
standard now, don't you, for all of them?
It is. It's got to be. It has to be.
That's the minimum. Well,
if we play like that in every game, like
that's not real. You're not going to, are you? But you know what I'm saying? That's the marker now. That's what we want to aim for. That's the kind of side we want to be. That's the Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa way. That's what we want to see now.
Yeah, and it's very easy to get impatient as a Villa fan, isn't it, Dan? It's very easy to fall into a negative mindset, especially after a run of bad fixtures where we haven't been too great. But all I've wanted for pretty much most of the season is 2 consecutive good halves of football. And we got it. We did get it. I've just been waiting because it's so hit and miss. We could have, it's never we never have 2 good halves of football. No. So we were very patient when Southampton were playing possession ball. Jay Adams didn't do anything, as always, because he's tosh.
Great save from Martinez, though, from him.
Oh, yeah, okay, he had that one shot. But apart from that, class. I don't know how that's ended up over the bar. I have no idea how that's ended up over
strong
the bar
hands.
There. Yeah. But it was just really refreshing to have, because when we get to half-time, we've had a half like that. You're like, okay, well, what Villa team's coming out in the second half?
Yeah, because you can concede at the start of that half and it's a completely different game.
100%.
We built on it. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of the 2 halves thing. You're right. That is something that we don't see too often from Aston Villa.
I talk about it all the time. Like I've memed about it a few times. Like just want 2 good halves of football.
And you got it.
Indeed. Can we talk about just about to talk about Danny Ings. Can we talk about him being booed and then him having the performance of his career?
I thought he might celebrate when he scored just because they were
wish he did. I wanted him to knee slide.
He had a little look. There's a picture of him giving it the tongue to the whole end. So he did have he had a little smile to himself. He allowed himself a little smile, but not only has he scored, he's got 2 assists in that game as well. He was looking like, I was just thinking only Villa could have Danny Ings and turn him not into a goal scorer because he's been an unbelievable goal scorer for years. But it looked more like himself on Saturday. There was a moment in the first half where he pulled up and I thought, oh God, another injury.
Yeah,
what is it with us and our new players?
Yeah.
We get these new players in, they just keep getting injured, Ings and Bailey. We just can't get a tune out of them at all. But he carried on. That's what he's about. If you give him anything in the penalty area, he's going to tuck it away.
Yeah. I thought he was going to come off then as well. But how many times have we spoke about the depth on the bench, just having no options? When was the last time you seen an attacking group, exclude the first 11, like bench included, when have we had such depth in attack?
Well, to be able to bring on Buendia and Bailey, who were supposed to be part of replacing Jack Grealish, have them not in the best 11 at the moment. I don't think it's ideal. I don't think Christian Purslow will sit there and be happy with that because obviously we spent an awful lot of money on them, but it does show that there's competition for players. Now, I'd love Bailey to, I know we're supposed to be talking about Danny Ings. I'd love Bailey to get going. I mean, look at that he had not only, those, if it wasn't for Coutinho, you'd look at those stats and think, man of the match, excellent game. But Coutinho still managed to get a man. Danny Ings has got 2 assists and a goal, and he's not man of the match.
And that's what we love to see, right?
That's what you want.
We just can't ask for more.
Yeah.
But we're in that position now where it's like, what is your starting 11 for a game? And that's a nice place to be in. It feels like 5 minutes ago, there was echoes of bringing Diana Vassilev in to start, like where we were riddled with injury,
I mean, he might be the third striker. I know he's not on the bench at the moment. He might be our third striker at the moment. Cameron Archer scored again at the weekend as well.
Vassilev's on loan, isn't he?
I thought he was back. I think he might be back.
Did he come back in January?
I think he might be back now. I think he might actually be our third choice striker at the moment. I'm pretty sure he's back. Someone might be able to correct me in the live chat. I'm pretty sure he's back. The only reason I know that is because I was Villa on FIFA the other day, and I'm pretty sure I saw him in the squad down the bottom. But
okay, so you don't actually know you've basically took it off FIFA.
Well, he wouldn't be in the FIFA team if he wasn't there in real life, Tom. Someone let me know. Let us know, and Adam will flash it up on the screen. I'm pretty sure he's
about
back.
FIFA. You'll get PTSD after that 7-0 battle.
I remember it. I'm not going to
swiftly moving on, Daniel.
I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. I know it happened. I remember, but yeah, Danny Ings, absolutely stupendous. And then you can bring on Leon Bailey, bring on Buendia. They're going to be hungry for football. They've not come here to sit on the bench, but at the moment now, they aren't in the best 11.
It's one of those things, isn't it, mate? It's a good problem to have. It's a problem.
It's not like Buendia's been bad either recently, really.
No, he hasn't. But if you're going to play those two up top, if you're going to play a triangle, if you're going to play a cam and two strikers, it's one of those, isn't it? How do you change that? I can't help but feel a little bit sorry for Brendan. Clearly more important. Yeah, I completely agree with David there, mate. I really do. It's frustrating for him because he's really found his feet. I think he's really found his feet. But if you were to bring him in, Dan, where does he go?
Well, he can only really go in Coutinho's position. I mean, if we were to get an injury up front, if Ings or Watkins was to get injured, I'm pretty sure Brendan would be straight back in and we'd be playing with two number 10s. I was going to ask you about the two number 10s thing. I just feel like it recently, especially, it's almost been a little, and they're not, I don't think they are luxury players because they work hard, but I don't know how else to describe it. I almost think it was a little bit too luxury, and actually just having the 110 simples things up a little bit. It simplifies the football. Coutinho playing as a 10 behind two strikers. And Brendan is, unfortunately, against Coutinho, he is going to be the full guy. But do you agree with that it was almost a little bit too luxury, especially when we had the fullback so high as well?
I think if we have a lone striker, I feel like they're a little bit left out because it's very hard to get into the game as a lone striker, especially when you've got so much going on behind you. I think I could say we look better with a two, but there's been games where we haven't looked better with a two. So it's one of those where I think we need to see a bit of consistency with two up top for more than 2 games, because there's been times where we played one up front and played good for more than 2 games, but then there was times where it was like, this isn't working, so I don't know, Dan.
I will say the Diamond's the only formation we hadn't tried with 2 up front. I think that was the last resort for getting 2 up front to work. I think we've been 4-4-2. We've been 3 at the back with 2 up front. That was it. That was the only thing left to try, really, the only system that we could do. And so finally, we found one that gets goals out of Ings and Watkins.
I'm just over the moon that they finally found a bit of chemistry between each other. It's if they're getting that start together, then there must be something going on in training that we don't see behind.
Well, Ings referenced it after the game. I don't know whether you saw his interview with the Villa.
No, I didn't.
AVTV or whatever it's called nowadays, Villa TV. He referenced that they've been working really hard together at building a relationship again in training. I suppose because we haven't been playing 2 up front, I guess they wouldn't have been working on that relationship in training at all. And now suddenly they are again because we're playing a system that's 2 up front.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where it's one or the other, isn't it? It's the sacrifice. It's either 2 up top or 2 cams.
Yeah, because I thought Watkins would, you think of Watkins, you think he's playing up front, he drifts to the left a little bit. He used to play out on the left. Actually, he was more on the right-hand side, wasn't he? It was Ings that was drifting out to the left yesterday, which I thought was quite interesting. So they are working on things, mixing it up. Some games maybe you'll see Watkins be the one that drifts more to the left. There must have been a reason why yesterday against Southampton they thought that Ings drifting to the left was the better thing to do. I suppose, in a way, Watkins was drifting to the right as well. Actually, when I think of his link up with Cash, especially in the first half, when you're doing that, you're pulling centre halves around, and that's probably what's freeing up the space for Coutinho.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think it's been so frustrating for him, and there's been times where I think there was a few games down where we didn't even have a single shot on target for the entire game, which is frustrating for us to watch. But imagine being a striker and you're not really getting any opportunity to even have a shot, and then getting criticised for it. It's one of those things, but as we said, mate, it's a good problem to have. It's a really good problem to have where things are going too well. And what do you change in a game where you've just bopped a team 4-0 and won 2-0 away from home?
I mean, I maintain, except for the Watford game where he hit the post, I don't remember Danny Ings missing a high number of big chances this season, really. I do think when he's had the service, he's tucked it away. You think of the header against Wolves.
Against Brentford? He scored that goal with his left foot.
Yeah.
Was it Brentford?
Yeah, Brentford.
And it was literally marginal of it between the keeper stretching for it
he's a finisher.
And the goal. He is, mate. He is. And he's showing why we bought him in at the end of the day. I know he's not a Steven Gerrard signing, but
he knows
he's most definitely becoming a Steven Gerrard player, and that's what's important. Because we need to remember that the majority of this team isn't a Steven Gerrard team. It takes years. It takes years for that to happen. If you look at, for example, like Liverpool, for example, how many years did it take Jurgen Klopp to build the team that he wanted and for them to get to that level? So it's one of those things where we've got to be patient, and We can't get too ahead of ourselves. I'm really sorry if you can hear that in the background. The dog is on all fours trying to open the door.
Absolutely fine. But he's starting to mould certain players to the way he wants to be. And I think of Matty Cash, I think he's had a really good season all round anyway, even under Dean Smith. I think he's been pretty consistent all season round. But even over the last few weeks, that I feel like there's been a change in Matty Cash. He's starting to get assists now. He scored a goal last week. Other than Ramsey, I think he's probably been our most consistent performer all season. But I'm seeing little things in Matty Cash's game now where I'm thinking, yeah, you're starting to really become what Steven Gerrard wants. I mean, obviously, Atletico Madrid, they genuinely are interested in him. I've heard a lot of stuff about that.
That's legit, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a genuine thing. But I think he's a really, really underrated footballer. I think he's quicker than he comes across. He's bundles of energy, he gets up and down. He's a good defender. And like I say, an assist against Leeds, an assist yesterday. He scored against Brighton. He's starting to make an impact in the final third, which has a right back. It's not actually that easy to do. So I think he deserves a huge amount of credit. I thought in the first half yesterday, he never, ever stopped. He was down my side in that first half. And I just thought, you are such a good footballer.
Yeah, I think the problem that fans have from my general consensus of asking around and putting
Is that another word for consensus? Is that another word for consensus?
Shut up, Dan. Grow up. We're not all from a privileged background, Dan. I do occasionally say things.
Have you heard me speak? I'm definitely not from that.
I mean, I heard the way you said Lange's first name. You called him Langer. I mean, I don't know which one's right. Langer? If that's how you pronounce it, then
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'll never ever call him that. So
what do you call him?
Keep eating your prawn sandwiches.
What do you call him?
Don Johan.
Pardon?
Don Johan.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. But how do you say his surname?
Lange.
No. I mean,
I am wrong because Steve, analytics. No, I don't think it is.
That's posher than what I'm saying.
It's just me. It's just memes with me. It's a running trend of me just pronouncing things in silly ways.
I mean, you've got Sanson right, I would say. Sanson. The way you say that is correct. He got the pitch as well, didn't he? Sanson.
I thought he was great when he came on.
You like him, don't you?
It's not so much that I have a soft spot for him. I just really don't feel like he's been given the chance. I don't think there's been a time or he's done anything that's warranted for him to be dropped. It was going to take him time to get used to the intensity of the Premier League. But it's one of those scenarios. Who do you drop?
Yeah, you can't tell. I mean, the point just came up at the bottom. I think David, who just came up at the bottom, who I just saw, Ramsey's played a hell of a lot of football. There may well come a game where he does need to be taken out the firing line. Yeah, I wouldn't say he had a bad game yesterday. It's probably his quietest game for a while, though, Ramsey. It was actually nice to see in a way, because I thought Louise and McGinn were good. So it was nice to see Ramsey could have a quiet game, but we still made stuff happen and probably put in our best performance of the season. Ramsey was by no stretch bad. He was just quite quiet yesterday, which can happen because he's a young player still developing.
I thought McGinn was class. And it was nice to see him have a game like that because we know that player's there.
Well, he was our best player against Brighton. Definitely our best player against Brighton.
Consistently brilliant. Yesterday and against Brighton, I thought he was class. But it's nice to see. We know that player's there. I think he'll stay with us till the end of his days, Mr. McGinn. I really do.
I mean, is there anyone we haven't praised now? I think we've been through the whole team and gone through them, which is nice. That's what we wanted, because a few weeks ago, doing podcasts and shows about Aston Villa didn't feel great. And believe me, I do enough of them. It wasn't pleasant talking about it at all. But now, can't wait to keep talking about Villa because they're putting a smile on my face and they're putting a smile on yours as well, and everyone else that was in the ground and watching at home yesterday.
Exactly. And I've had a really good weekend, and it's nice to finish it on a high. The team that I manage on a Sunday, we won a cup game today as well. So through to the next round. So just best weekend ever, mate.
Are you a permanent manager now? Or you caretaker?
Yes, I am.
You're a
perm, yeah.
Perm manager. Good stuff. I will come and watch one of these days. I will come down and watch.
Bracey at the wheel.
Bracey at the wheel. Cup run. Something Aston Villa do not do well at doing, the old cup run. I'd love to still be in the FA Cup, but that's a story.
I'd love, obviously it's over this year, but I just want us to be able to go to Box Park the eve before Wembley, and then just on the green and just a day out at Wembley. Like, I don't drink, but
next year, it's coming next year. Yeah, I like going out here.
I get sloshed. You're a bad influence on me because I haven't been drunk for nearly 2 years. So, but Wembley is an exception.
Is it?
Yeah, Wembley's an exception for me.
Oh, that's true. Just flashed up that we didn't talk about Martinez, but we did. We talked about his save.
You must
Didn't
be
much to
enjoying
do
that.
yesterday, did he? But what he did do, he does very well. That's just what he's about, isn't it? He's unbelievable.
I mean, it's nice
goalkeeper.
when you're not talking about your goalkeeper a lot, because it means that he had a lot to do, because the defence and the midfield were solid, and it shows that when we've got that solid defensive unit and we're doing well in the midfield, that Martinez has a quiet game, and a clean sheet's important to him as well. So
2 in a row as well. Excellent stuff.
Class. Yeah, I've took him out my FPL as well. Absolute nonsense. I did captain Coutinho though, so
I voiced him. Absolute disaster. Not happy with myself at all. I was so close. I was so close to captaining him, but I voiced him. Captain Lukaku didn't even get on. Waste of a double game where he captain. Took a risk. Didn't work. Don't let me manage any teams. Absolutely terrible. Let's go then, Ty. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I've enjoyed. I like talking to you. I like talking to you when there's a win. It's nice to talk to you about a win. You're a positive guy anyway. And then we're coming on and we're talking about a win, and it makes me feel good. I feel good.
So is that just the general what's happening as a whole going forward? Dolan when we lose, me when we win, and then Omar in between?
Yeah, Omar when we need something sensible
and
to
Neil,
be said.
can't forget Neil.
Yeah, and Neil, we get Neil in. Neil's in all the time, isn't he? Neil barely misses a show nowadays. He's got his own channel, but he's pretty much purely the Villa View as well. So he puts a lot of graft in as well. But yeah, that does us for this week's show. Let's flash that Purity deal up on the screen again so they continue to sponsor us. We push their stuff, they'll continue to sponsor us, Adam. Oh dear, here he is. I've put him on the spot. I shouldn't have done. Here he is. There you go. Yeah, chance to meet a Villa legend. Just purchase a Purity Pale Ale mini keg or 2, and you'll get a chance to win a match day experience with a Villa legend. Do check out all their other stuff as well. And I believe if you're doing that, you can still use the code #VillaView and you'll still get 10% off. So you'll get 10% off, and you'll be entered into a competition to meet a Villa legend. I'll try and find out who it is. I'll ask them and get back to you all on the next show. Thanks ever so much to Ty. Thanks to Adam as always as well. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll be back for a match preview next week at some stage. Oh, yeah, it'll be early, won't it? Because we've got the Leeds game on Thursday, and we'll be back for a post-match point. We'll probably do that straight after the game on Thursday night. I think it's on Amazon, isn't it? I'm not making the trip to Leeds on Thursday. I believe it's on Amazon. So we'll do a show straight after then. Have a good what's left of your Sunday, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.